Kate from Gastrofork here, and that's Leah. We are at the wine festival today, and we are gonna go try, I don't know how many
wines as there is. We're not sure how many there are, but we'll find out.
Yes, we will take you in with us and you'll see how many wines we're gonna try. I can't have any red wine because I'm allergic, so I will focus on the white wines, whereas maybe Leanne will.
I'll take one for the team, so you can watch my video for, I guess, more of the red wines.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's go. Today I am checking out the Vancouver International Wine Festival event at PICA, which is the Pacific Institute of Culinary Arts. It's here on Granville Island. There's a lot of things going on today here. There's Winterruption, which happens around this time of year during the weekend, so I would recommend you go check it out. It's really cool. Let's head over. Today I am sharing my thoughts and the highlights of the recent Vancouver International Wine Festival. I just got back from one of the events, hence, I don't know, I have this on. I've written about the wine festival on my blog, so if you want a little bit more background as to what it's about and all that fun stuff, you can go check it out. I'll leave a link down below. But I just wanted to kind of share my highlights and some tips so that if you're planning to go check out the Wine Fest or any kind of wine festival in general, this will apply. Some of the highlights for me were definitely the sake from Granville Island. They only make, I believe they only make 1,000 bottles a year. I will double check. And once they've made them, they don't make them for the rest of the year. So one, they're small batches, and two, they're really delicious. I got to try their full range and it was really good. I would definitely recommend checking them out on Granville Island if you're here in Vancouver. They also have it at Legacy Liquor Store, BC Liquor Stores. At the general tasting that happens at the convention center downtown, that's kind of more for people to kind of walk around and go to different tables that have different wines from different countries. And I really recommend checking this one out, especially if you're kind of like me where you're not really a super wine connoisseur and you want to try out new wines, or you're like, okay, well, I kind of like Pinot Gris. What's the difference between one that's made in BC or one that's made in Europe? It's a really good way to try out different wines. Or maybe you were looking at a wine list when you were at a restaurant and you wanted to try something, but one, maybe it was too expensive, or two, you didn't want to invest in a bottle because you didn't know whether you liked it. This would be one of the perfect instances where it would make sense for you to spend the money to go there and try a whole bunch of different wines. At the actual tasting room, it's more a ballroom because it's huge. There are rows and rows of different wineries that are categorized by the countries, and because this year we're celebrating Canada's 150th birthday, they are focusing mostly on Canadian wines. A huge amount of Canadian wines you can try out. A lot obviously from BC. There's also Nova Scotia, there was Quebec, because Quebec is a big region as well. It grows wine, Niagara, there was a whole bunch. A lot of popular ones here that I got to try out, you'll see in the video. A lot of them I've tried before and I really love them. But I also really enjoyed about the wine festival, the tasting portion anyways, was the fact that there was a lot of food. There was a lot more food than I thought there would be, because mostly at a lot of wine festivals or beer festivals, there's food, but I guess canapes would probably be the best word for it. Whereas here, there was half of it was pretty much food. So there was bread and cheese and charcuterie boards, and then there was also chips, chocolates. What else was there? There was like a duck poutine. Obviously, they're quite small, so I would recommend you still having a dinner or a lunch before heading down there and tasting all the wines. What I like about the wine festival is that there's just so many events that you could go to. You don't have to go to a huge tasting that's in the convention center. There's events that are small, like maybe 20 people. There are large events like the tasting. So it's really up to you, and there's a lot of events that kind of focus on certain countries, or pairing it with certain food, learning how to cook with wine, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things that you can learn, and there's so many things that you can experience. And you can either be a beginner in wine and then take a wine tasting class, or if you're super advanced or something, you can go appreciate wines from different countries or pair it with different foods. Yeah, those are some of the highlights that I really enjoyed when I was checking out the wine festival this year. I wanted to kind of give you some tips that kind of resonate with this, but also with other festivals that go on. My first tip, especially if you're going to go to the tasting portion of it, is to go early, because a lot of these things, they get so busy and so packed, and if you're there to really experience the wine and you want to kind of be relaxed in the environment, I would definitely recommend going early, right when they open. There might be a lineup, but it's worth it, because one, you get to try them pretty quick. You get to talk to people before it gets too busy, because they're probably not going to be talking to people. They will be talking to people, but probably not as in depth if they have a whole lineup of people that you need to serve. So I would suggest going early. The second tip I have is to make a plan. I would suggest making a plan if it's your first time coming to a wine festival. You get to see the program, and usually it's on their website, and you can kind of plan your plan of attack, where you could go, oh, I'm gonna try all the whites. Oh, I really like to try all the reds. I want to try all the Canadian wine. Maybe you should start here. But then you can kind of gauge how long it'll take you to do a whole roundabout of the area. I would say when I went, it took us, we didn't try all the wines too. It took us about like an hour to kind of walk around the entire area. It was starting to get busy, so we left pretty early. I think we spent maximum like an hour and a half there, so give yourself a lot of time to look around and kind of see everything that you want to see, and also make some time to also try some of the food and the food samples that they have there, because it's great. They also have like a BC liquor store area at the very end of it, so if you want wines, I would definitely say take a picture or grab one of the cards and remember it if you want to go pick up some wine afterwards. So tip number 3, if you're kind of curious, like I mentioned before, if you're curious in a certain wine or a certain blend and you don't want to really spend the money to buy a bottle and then figure out that you don't like it, so I would suggest coming to this event and trying different things. Like, for example, I've never really tried Chianti. I think that's how you say it. I don't think it would be something I would buy on my own, but at least I'm a little bit more educated now what it would taste like if I tried to order it at a restaurant, or if I'm being served somewhere, maybe one of my friends who drink fancy wines. Tip number 4 is check out the BC liquor store area. It's huge. You are definitely going to find the type of wines that you found on the floor, and it's a good way to kind of continue the experience at home. My tip number 5 is, if you have questions, this is the best place to ask. I am not afraid to ask questions anymore. I used to be, but I really don't think there are any dumb questions, honestly. So when I am curious about region, or what's in a blend, or what's the difference between a certain type of wine, I'm not afraid to ask, because everyone who works there, it's their job to inform you on what wines are good and what the wine and the winery is about. So They are super happy to help and they'll answer anyone's questions. Don't feel shy to ask questions because you will get a good answer from these people because they work day to day with wine. Like you could go to a restaurant and ask someone, but it's typically a hit or miss. Some people don't know a lot of wine. So I would say this is a really good space to ask a lot of questions. Tip number 6 is to pick up a compass card on your way out. At the wine festival, they give you the option of picking up a compass card on your way out. It's really good of them to do that because obviously if you're tasting wine and you're enjoying your wine, you want to get home safe. So I really applaud them for offering that. And it's usually just outside the tasting rooms. I think it's only for the large tasting rooms that you can get one. So definitely go take advantage of that, enjoy yourself, and then get home safe. Overall, the wine festival was amazing. You should check it out, especially if you really want to learn more about wines, or you're kind of a newbie and you're just like, what's the difference between a Pinot Gris and a Pinot Grigio? Or even if you're a seasoned person who enjoys wine like on the regular, there's always new wines to try because the world is just spinning with a whole bunch of different types of wines everywhere. So it's definitely a great place to learn and discover different types of wine. One thing that I really think that is amazing that the wine festival does is that they raise funds for Board on the Beach Society, the theater anyways, and I love Board on the Beach. I've been going, we used to go in high school for class field trips and I really love Board on the Beach. So I would say definitely even for that reason alone, you should check it out as well. I think you should also check out Board on the Beach. I've done a couple of reviews on them as well. I really enjoy them. They make really good plays. It's all just Shakespeare plays and they just announced a whole bunch of the new ones that they're gonna do this year. I'm looking forward to it. That does it for this vlog and I will see you guys next time. Bye!